Oduduwa agitators, Ipob, OHANEZE youth warn federal government against deployment of military to commence murder of protests in October 20th. The Oduduwa agitators are the indigenous people of Biafra Ipob and the youth wing of Apex Igbo Social Cultural Group OHANEZE Indigbo has warned the federal government against deploying the military against NSAS protesters. The group, which sternly warned of the grave implication of using force against the protesters, vowed to commence murder of protests on October 20th. Oduduwa agitators and Ipob, on a joint press statement, accused the military high command of using the proposed nationwide special military operation tagged Operation Crocodile Smile as a cover to clamp down on the agitators. The statement was signed by Mr. Zaccheaus Somorin, Director of Communication, Yoruba One Voice, and Mrs. Christy Ekama, Principal Secretary of the Directorate of State Indigenous People of Biafra Ipob, and it read in part, "We read with shock and dismay on the plan by the federal government to deploy the army forces under the guise of Operation Crocodile Smile, with the sole aim to quell the popular NSAS protests across the country." According to the statement, the ongoing protests are a clear testament of failure of leadership in the country. The agitators expressed support for the ongoing protests, which, according to them, will ultimately lead to a restructuring of Nigeria. "We fully endorse the NSAS protest. We demand Nigerian youth for again rising to the occasion to redirect drifting ship of state. The federal government must immediately rescind its decision to deploy the armed forces to truncate legitimate protests by Nigerians. This is contrary to international law. The federal government must not add to the gruesome bloodletting by the discredited SARS operative through its ill-advised deployment of the armed forces. We will hold the Buhari administration and its officials responsible for any killings occasioned by the deployment of armed forces to quell legitimate civil protest. We call on the United Nations and the international community to take particular interest in the NSAS protest and the planned deployment of the armed forces, and to hold Nigerian officials to account for any infringement of civil rights. The armed forces must be reminded that their loyalty is to the Nigerian state. The era of regime protection is gone forever. We commend Nigerian youth for their courage and sacrifices in the face of police brutality, joblessness, insecurity, extrajudicial killings, hopelessness. We stand in solidarity with you in the struggle for a better future. Similarly, the national president of OHANEZE Youth OYC, Comrade Igboayaka has warned Nigerian government to jettison the plan to launch Operation Crocodile Smile, describing it as an action capable of ending the existence of Nigeria within 1 month. According to OYC, the army has no business in the internal affairs or affairs of the country. The Apex Igbo Youth Body asked the army to restrict itself to the Nigerian borders. OIC said that protests by the youth will commence heavily from 20th October to 31st December if the demands of the protesters were not met. OIC claimed that the Nigerian government wants to use the army to harass and cow the youth into terminating the protest abruptly. It urged the UN law has a provision that any country that sustains a peaceful protest or mass resistance up to a month, the UN Army will intervene in such country for a peacekeeping mission, which in the case of Nigeria may lead to referendum and a possible restructuring. OIC urged the protesters to endeavor to raise Nigerian flags during each of their protests and possibly sew a cloth with the Nigerian color of green and white and wear it during every protest till December 31st. Raising the flag will debar or restrain the military from shooting at the protesters because it is a secret code of the Nigerian army. The statement said Steve Oko, publisher CEO, wARn News Global. For more on the info. Wow, this is so serious in Nigeria, and it is happening right here in Nigeria. It is blowing hot. The OHANEZE youth, the Ipob, the Oduduwa have said and are warning the Nigerian army to stop their plans on the protesters. They should allow them protest peacefully, and they are warning them, telling them that if they do anything to the protesters, it will lead to restructuring of Nigeria as soon as possible. The OIC is also warning the Nigerian army, saying that it is rising. Wants to harass them. Harass the youths into terminating the protest abruptly. Why would they want to harass them? Why would the government? Is that the solution to what we are saying? Why the harassment? Why the plans to harass the Nigerian youth, the protesters? Why? Instead of them to meet the demands of this Nigerian youth, of these protesters, the government is silent and is planning to use the Nigerian army, and that is why the OIC has encouraged every of the protesters to always carry the green, white, green flag, and or to wear a green, white, green color during every protest till December 31st, 2020. He said, raising the flag will debar or will restrain the military from shooting at the protesters because it is a secret code of the Nigerian army. It is a secret code indeed. They will not be able to attack any of the protesters. Wow, this is very, very serious in Nigeria. Wow, this is coming from OIC, the Ipob, and Oduduwa Republic. This is one voice. We have one voice in Nigeria that even the UN law has a provision for any country that sustain a peaceful protest or mass resistance up to a month. The UN army will intervene in such country for peaceful mission, which in the case of Nigeria may lead to referendum or possible restructuring. Maybe that is what is going to happen in Nigeria. The UN army will soon come and take over Nigeria if Buhari refuses to do something very fast and quick about what is going on in the country, about the protest. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to DëTAiLS TV, and I will see you on the other news. Bye for now.